That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Gym Crashers with Dondo, Adam Woods, and Joey the Bull Santana. What's up, guys?
That's not what your face would say.
It's good to have you on camera, Joe. You're a handsome man, and people need to see that.
I take off my glasses. I'm like Superman, you know.
I dig the glasses. It's kind of cool. It's a good look.
No. So,
Tell me.
what's good? What's happening?
Everything's good, man. Life is good, right? It's July, what, the 16th?
It's one of those days.
Man,
We're halfway through the year, halfway through the week. Life is good.
Why is it so hot in here? Jesus, because I'm surrounded by these two hot men? No, it's just hot.
When it's called free admission, nobody pays the bill for the electricity, so we don't have any AC, I guess. No, I guess we got electricity. Lights are on. I don't
That
know.
might be a possible.
I don't know. Robert's got a fan. Producer Robert's got a fan, and the rest of us suffer. It's all good.
There you go.
Well, he deserved. The guy works hard all day.
He does.
Uses a lot of crazy stuff for YouTube and Facebook.
Is that a Blue Chew endorsement there? He works hard all day.
He works hard for his money, for his honey. Right?
So what happened this weekend, guys? What'd you guys do?
You start, Woods, or you want to start with me? Okay, so
Absolutely.
this weekend we covered Subversive. It's an incredible event put on by a team of people that are also Fight to Win. Very, very cool because they represent jiu-jitsu practitioners in the way that a professional fighter would be represented. So there's a stage, there's a face-off, there's lights, camera, action, big crowds, and it is conducted very much in the way that a fight's conducted that's in a cage or in a, you call it, boxing ring, in a boxing ring or a cage. This is on a mat. It's a square mat, so it's a platform, and people do go flying off the platform, believe it or not, because there's nothing holding them in. And there were jiu-jitsu matches, one-on-one, of course. Then there were judo matches, which is something new to me. I've seen judo, but never witnessed it live. Not at that level. So these guys were amazing, and judo rules are different than jiu-jitsu rules, the throws, and then they finished with submissions, which was cool. Then there was a 5-on-5, which we are familiar with. We do it at Gym Crashers as well for our tournament, so 5-on-5 was cool. But, man, met some really cool people, did some really cool things. Producer Robert was there.
Oh, wow.
And uniquely, we set up. We're always humbled and ready to meet people and to talk about whatever. I don't mind interviewing winners or losers or whatever you want to call it, the winner or the person that didn't win. I hate to use that word. Some promotions prefer you only talk to the person that came out victorious. I talk to everybody. But we got teamed up with a young lady that's well known in the jiu-jitsu world, known as Kayla Harrison, and she's Patterson. Sorry, Kayla Patterson. Kayla Harrison's the other one, right? I know. That was Judoka girl. Yeah, I know. There's two Kaylas. Kayla Patterson.
Who's Patterson?
Kayla Patterson from San Diego, from Otto's headquarters, and she's amazing. And it was her first interview type setting, and she killed it. I mean, I felt like I was learning from her. So she did a great job. We met a lot of cool people, and thank you for correcting me, Robert. You're absolutely right. I threw you a microphone for that reason. That was my weekend. But, guys like Brian Mendez, huge victory against his competitor with an armbar finish in a judo match. There's something that you just don't see often, and the finish was there. It was a pretty dominant matchup. So,
No, I don't want to cut you off. Do you see the difference between, a lot of these guys are doing judo, jiu-jitsu, and a lot of these guys are cage fighters too? Now, do they feel a little different without having the cage there to back up on and do their moves? Can you sense that when they're in the platform?
Joe brings up a valid question, and it is a different environment, and I think that's why people go flying off or nearly fly off sometimes because of the comfortability with pro wrestlers too.
Yeah.
Right? They use that bounce, and boxers use it, and there's nothing there. So it's just an elevated mat, 3-4 feet off the ground. So, it's just cool, though. You guys, next time there's an event from Fight to Win or Subversive, I'm inviting you guys because you got to do it. Absolutely a fun one.
That's awesome.
Yep. How about you, Mr. Woods? How about you?
Man.
Oh, you got a video for us. Producer Robert.
He's like, dude.
I didn't know what the hand signal meant, but Producer Robert
I thought he was doing
has
the fastball.
Kayla Patterson's coming
I
up.
thought he was doing the YMCA.
He does the YMCA. Look at that. And Gym Crashers. That is a Gym Crasher graphic.
Wow, that's freaking cool.
All right, this is John Arredondo with
Kayla Patterson,
here at Subversive.
pro tournament. We're doing the. I like it.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right. No, absolutely. And we've had numerous competitors, fans,
Big card. A lot of people.
coaches, right? Tons of interviews.
Tons of people.
What did you think about the event?
From what I saw, it was awesome. Of course, we were out here.
Yeah.
It was nice to be able to break away to go watch the team tournament. team tournament.
Yeah.
Just watch. It was interesting. I had the high level competitors. Females I got to watch. Elvira Capron, she's
Oh my gosh.
really good.
So good.
It was an interesting match. She was supposed to fight Louisa.
Oh.
But something happened. They didn't end up. Louisa didn't make it, so Patty stepped up. But
Patty Fontes.
yes, Patty Montez. That was interesting. What about you? What do you
You
think?
know what? Jiu-jitsu I love, of course. That's what brings me here. But they had judo, and then they had the 5-on-5. Come on, that team event. Finishing with Gio Martinez,
Yeah.
incredible, right?
That was-
Against Meow, come on.
It was an interesting match. And that's the thing about the overtime rules is because if watching the match,
Yeah.
had there been a different point system, had there been points available,
Sure.
it
Might have been a
changed
different
things,
outcome. Yeah. But rear naked choke in the
I
overtime.
didn't expect to see that
Right?
quickly. That really surprised me.
I don't think anyone expected
I
it.
expected it to be a battle, and I expected,
Sure.
for Gio to be very good at holding that position. But
Sure.
man, and then whenever he turned it around and he really able to secure it, not get submitted himself.
Amazing
That
stuff.
was a shocker.
That's right. Hey, if you haven't been to Subversive, if you haven't been to Fight to Win, get out and see one. It's a national event. They're coming up to you in your neighborhood, somewhere close to you.
If
You
you're a
gotta
fan of
see it.
jiu-jitsu and you haven't been to a show like
Right?
this, do yourself a favor.
It is the professional jiu-jitsu show.
ADCC this year,
Right?
It's in San Diego.
That's
It's gonna
it.
be Seth's getting with Mo to produce the event.
If-
Mo's the organizer.
If Seth produces it, you know it's going to be high level. It's awesome. Well, thank you, Kayla. It was a pleasure working with you tonight.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, from Subversive, thank you all very much.
Wow.
Hey, what can I
Looking
say?
sharp there.
Well, I throw a jacket on, I gotta clean up somehow. I didn't have Woods with me. Everybody likes to ask me, "Where's your other half?" And I always think Robert's my other half.
Oh, yeah.
But apparently, I have another side chick, and his name's Adam Woods.
There you go. There you go.
And I got a third in the middle.
I think that was I'm not even going to say replacement. I think I should be pretty scared for my role here at Free Admission Media Network.
She lives in San Diego. She's a distance away. She's gonna come do the show. She's promised us.
Okay, right on. That's cool.
I should
That's,
shower that day.
You should shower. Yes, that would help. I heard
Oh,
heard some
jeez.
yelling downstairs. I don't know if that involved you, but
No.
okay, good.
This guy over
Oh,
here
Woods,
must have
did you
some-
do some duty?
I don't shower apparently.
Did you do the duty downstairs?
Must have ate some
Oh.
Fijian barbecue or
Yeah.
something.
There you go. Something like that.
Oh, fried chicken.
You know, as long as it's not on a bone,
See?
I'm down. But no, we in terms of the UFC, there was a pretty big fight. Not fight. I guess in fight card, it was kind of a like a showing of Sacramento talent. I mean, we had Andre Touchy-Feely, we had the returning Uriah Faber,
Wow.
UFC Hall of Famer. But there's a lot of controversy coming out of it. Not so much like things that happened there. And I kind of want to get into like the Herb Dean criticism, because in the main event, it was Asmad Ladd and Jermaine Durandamy, and a lot of people thought that Herb Dean might have stepped in that Aspen Ladd kind of stoppage. Well, I mean, it's Durandamy that made the stoppage, but thought he basically cut her off. And
Got it.
for I guess the week leading into this fight card on Saturday, Aspen Ladd had a bit of trouble with her weight. I mean, she was shaking by the time she got to the official weigh-ins. So there's a rule of thumb or a kind of an ethos behind Herb Dean's stoppage. Many people are thinking that, well, she had a horrible weight cut. Maybe I'm not going to let this fight go on, especially when there's head trauma.
Yeah.
applied.
Maybe that's not wrong.
Right, absolutely. But the weird thing about it, to me, is Herb Dean is arguably the best MMA referee, right? And it just goes to show that whether it be local amateur cards, regional cards, or in the UFC or Bellator, such a tremendous amount of pressure that goes into the referees and the judging scorecards. One would argue that a lot of MMA's rule set is essentially carried over from boxing, and they're antiquated for this stage of the game as the sport is growing faster and faster. But it should show you that if Herb Dean can make. I mean, most people are saying is a mistake or whatever, and we haven't heard Herb's take on it. But if he can have a bad day, it can happen to anyone. So, I guess in relation to the fighters, I would hope that each referee or judge is kind of astute to the different facets of the game. Obviously, we are in California, so we are lucky that we're under CSAC under Andy Foster,
Right.
and then Camo under JT Steele and Dave Denkin. Where mistakes happen all the time, but at least there's kind of a system in place. And when you talk about all of the judges and all of the referees in that system, there's years and years. I mean, we're talking decades, if not 100 years worth of collective experience in that organization. And the fight happened in Sacramento. So I don't know if it can happen here. It can happen to anywhere. And I understand, especially when it comes down to head trauma, it's kind of rough to see something, see a fight go if you see a fighter taking unjust damage. So I don't know. It's a weird one, and a lot of people are calling for Herb Dean's resignation and
That's
what
wrong.
have you. And I'm
That's
just
wrong.
like,
Protect
if
the
Herb
fighter.
Dean can have that type of day and make that type of call, that it's an unpopular deal, an unpopular job, but geez, man, it could happen to anyone. So
I think that what he did, I'm sure, is fine, even with an early stoppage, preventing that permanent damage to someone's brain and body. She can live to fight again. We'll see her fight again. The opposite side of the coin is he lets it go, something happens, and then everybody says, why didn't you
Right.
stop it?
Yeah.
So you know what? Hats off to Herb Dean for doing his job.
absolutely,
And it's
yeah.
up to him to decide it. He's been given that authority, and he's proven it over and over and over.
Absolutely. So it's one of those things where it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Obviously, if he had let it go and she got brain
Something
damage
happened,
irreparably, not people would have taken too kindly to his call. So I don't know, man. It's weird. But another interesting development is a returning California kid, Uriah Faber, comes back after a 2-year layoff,
Right.
after
Huge.
a UFC Hall of Fame induction.
Thought he was retired.
Yeah, absolutely, and beats Ricky Simone. Knocks him out. So there's a lot of not so much questions, but here's what we do know: Uriah Faber, when he re-upped his contract or reactivated his contract, he's got 5 fights.
Oh,
right?
wow. I didn't know they had 4 more coming.
Right, absolutely. So we've got 4 more fights, and I want to believe with all of the things that Uriah Faber has done outside of fighting. We're talking. He's a real estate developer, second generation real estate developer. The Fabers almost pretty much own a lot of Fresno, and that is a shoot.
That I had no idea about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Team
and then
Alpha
obviously,
Male is all I know.
right, and there's Team Alpha Male. He is the founder of Torque, the fight gear.
Oh, yeah, I know about Torque. That's cool gear.
He's done well, but to come back at 40 after a 2-year layoff and to do that, you have to imagine that he saw that maybe he could shoot up and take out Henry Cejudo for one of his belts.
He definitely he's hungry for it, right?
Right, absolutely. Now, again, the bone of contention is the fact that, hey, Faber hasn't, 2 years, there's a multitude of different challengers that may be more deserving or what have you. But here's the thing. When we have a Jose Aldo who said, hey, I'm not going to take any main event 5-round fights if not for a title, you have to wonder. You are long in the tooth. You are incurring a plethora of injuries, right? So the quicker way to the title, if you could do a roadless travel, who can't say that Uriah Faber hasn't earned that right? But
Hall of Famer, dude. He's earned it.
and if
I'd
Henry
watch it.
yeah, and if Henry Cejudo calls himself the cringe king, right? There isn't anything cringier than seeing a 40-year-old Faber, and Henry Cejudo, right? So
That's
there's
a pace
Yeah.
that is hard to keep up with in your younger years. If Uriah can match that pace,
Absolutely.
or potentially beat him, oh my goodness.
Now, if there's Uriah Faber fans out there, don't judge me on this, but I watched the fight, and to me, you might say different, that he got lucky with that punch. He got in there, did his thing. I figure he's gonna fight somebody that's higher level. He's not, like I said, he is 40 years old. He takes a couple of those hits that, coming back at a younger, stronger fighter, I don't think he'll last. I mean, I'm glad he signed up for other fights, but I think that when I was watching that fight, the highlights, I think he just really got lucky where he was in that position. Boom, hits the guy down.
Is it luck or is it recognizing the opening?
Well, that too. Recognizing the opening, but I think it was just the guy he was fighting wasn't really. To me, it was like he wasn't really guarding himself all the way, protecting himself, putting his hands up. He just got in there and boom, that was it.
So his technique won the battle at the end of the day because he keeps his hands up. He moves real good. He came in and took him out.
But being at 40, I mean, that's just.
His 40 is probably like our
I mean, he's
20.
still in good shape. I mean, I give him that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's crazy to me? So I was at UFC 199. I mean, the first time that, in Inglewood at the Forum, there is
He
a
dropped the I word.
UFC. Like there's 2 titles up for grabs. The UFC comes to Inglewood for the first time ever. And I mean, just to describe the crowd. First off, I mean, Uriah Faber is a California kid, right? He has came out for the large part of his career, if not all of his career, to California Love, a Tupac song, right? We're in Inglewood where, I mean, Tupac, after one of his arrests, the first gig that he played was like a junior high prom, there in Inglewood. So the collective gas that happened once we knew that Dominic Cruz was just outclassing him in every way, shape, or form, right? And to see that the window has opened up where he may be able to, secure a title, much like a gentleman who fought on that same card, Michael Bisping. A lot of people said that he was long in the tooth.
I thought he was done.
And the champion in Luke Rockhold underestimated him, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Bisping got his UFC title, the same title that Anderson Silva had. He fought Anderson Silva for that title.
And I didn't think he'd have a chance of coming back after that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, anything could happen. Where it's interesting is, I mean, is there a bigger name that Henry Cejudo as the bantamweight and flyweight champion, right? The double champion. Is there a fight that is more lucrative for him on the horizon than Uriah Faber? I can't say that it would. I mean, many people don't know Henry Cejudo. Like, that's honest to goodness truth.
Well,
right?
he doesn't necessarily push the envelope verbally like some other fighters do, but the people that are in the know, we know how much he has earned the right to be where he is.
Right.
And I'm not, like I said, I'm not doubting you're right. But I'm been the biggest fan when he was fighting, and it was at
WEC,
right?
absolutely.
Biggest fan ever. Making it at 40, making
Right.
that win. All more power to him. I just hope that he has like what, he said 5 in the contract.
Yeah, he's got 5.
I'm wishing him all luck for that. Believe me, I'm rooting for him because I'm in my 40s, and a lot of people in their 40s that are fighters don't.
You don't look like you're in your 40s, Joe.
I'm 40. I'm gonna be 45 in October.
I don't believe it.
You know.
You don't look a day over
But I'm all,
21.
I'm all for him. I'm rooting for him. I'm not.
You look
trying
like
to
you're a
doubt
shrinking man, Joe, as I look over at you.
him. It's called keto,
So you're on the keto burrito still, right?
keto and meth.
It looks great. The
There you
keto
go.
math is good.
Just hey, what's up, Blake Troop? What
Blake
up,
Troop.
Steve Dodge?
We love Blake Troop. Steve
Mike-
Dodge.
Well, what's happening over there?
Robert just dropped his pocket.
Yeah.
What's up, family? What's up, folks? Tell your friends. Joey the Bull's on the show with these 2 fellas.
He was going to say something else, but he turned on to fellas to be nice.
There we go. He turned the corner for sure.
It was
said
something
fellas.
with an F.
What fucks?
Was he going to call us
Friends.
Bellas? I don't know. What the hell? Are we the Bellatons? You, Nikki, I'm Bree?
No.
Anyway. And then there's actually some, not so great news. Coming down the pipeline, it seems like former UFC fighter Abel Trujillo was arrested in Broward County, Florida for sexual exploitation of a child and felony obscenity. That is the official charge as it relates to MMA media. That's the source that is reporting
Now, for
that.
people out there, what's the definition of that? What's that trying to make it?
That's despicable.
There's something weird with the kid, and it had to have sexual implications. Now, obviously, different states, different counties, and what have you. So I don't know the extent of what it is, but we do know that as far as if he's convicted, I mean, it's enough of a, not more of a hunch, but I mean, there's enough to obviously arrest him and hold him on a $10,000 bond.
Wow.
And it looks like if found guilty, he faces
Yeah.
12 to 18 months in prison, which I think, but that's per charge. There's two charges against him. So, I mean, that's not
Did they say
fun.
how old is was it a pretty course?
No. We obviously we don't know because I don't know if it's a state thing. I want to say it's a federal thing where when anything happens to be happens in a criminal setting with a minor, you cannot disclose age or name or face and everything. If you've even seen on social media, anything where a child is involved, they blur out the face.
Does he have a history of any sort, of any other things that are
don't know,
semi-related? Nothing?
And obviously he's a former UFC fighter.
Yeah.
He last fought for the promotion back in 2017. So
Not that long ago.
Yeah, right. It's been 2 years since, but it's definitely disheartening.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about anybody doing that much. That's a UFC
I
guy.
guess Blake Troop is saying, I think it's nude pics of an underage girl. That's what
Oh,
he's saying
jeez. Yeah. So
And-
That'll do it.
not cool things.
Thank you, Blake.
So I just hope whoever the minor is, hopefully this isn't irreparably scar her.
That's why it's always great to check IDs because some of these kids nowadays, they're growing, and some of these girls you see out there, I'm like, I got to make sure they have IDs. I mean,
But that's
it's pretty crazy.
assuming it's consensual, and not to
Yeah.
throw shade, but I mean that is assuming that it's consensual. And when you're talking with a minor, it's anybody of under 18. So
Yeah.
it could be 16, but it could
Yeah.
also be 6. And
So a lot of you fighters out there just recognize, maybe some girls look pretty, but you got to check that ID before you get.
I don't think anybody's like.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It happens, bro.
Yeah.
Some of these girls are thirsty out there, and it happens.
There you go.
Blake Troop, saw him at Subversive. He's an amazing guy. If you haven't ran into Blake Troop, you're gonna, because he's everywhere. I ran into him a week before. Must have been Lights Out. Week before that must have been, where were we? I don't know, some event. But Blake Troop is at every freaking event.
Yeah.
And always watching Jim Crashers live. He just blows me away.
Yeah,
Man is
so
super
shout out
active.
to Blake Troop, and it is we're pretty much gonna have different roles at MMA Events Inc. show on the 27th at the
Okay.
Pasadena Convention Center. So
Okay.
follow MMA Events Inc. on their social media channels to find out more information. But that's live. Dondo's going to be doing backstage interviews like he does,
I guess so.
and Blake Troop and I will be handling the announcing for that.
That's cool.
That fight. So come down and see the Jam Crashers do our thing at the Pasadena Convention.
That is breaking
Center.
news. I knew we were going. I just didn't know what capacity. But I'm going to bring my friend Joey the Bull to be my partner.
I do take pictures, autographs. I don't charge.
He'll be there.
Okay. You're not Hulk Hogan. You don't charge $200.
Nah,
to-
man, I show love to everybody.
Okay,
You know
right
what I
on.
mean?
Get your T-shirts, your Joey the Bull T-shirts ready, so you
Yeah,
can
just
market those.
go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby.
The one with the cigar and the look. You got the Godfather. You should put a T-shirt.
Shirt,
Yeah, you should.
I think I'll sell the crap out of those
Right?
damn things.
There you go.
That's a good idea.
Joe the
I
Bull's
think-
got merch.
I'm gonna talk to our producer over there.
Oh well, you do what you got to do.
Production Panda.
I believe he's downstairs producing something right now.
There you go. There you go. So man, it's been a crazy fight week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I mean, I know.
Talk,
we're-
please.
Okay, well, first of all,
Take over.
Gym Crashers brought to you by Our Life CBD.
Thank you so much.
Massage Matters, Cauliflower Nation, and these guys are a real great group. Where's our guy from CBD? He's usually here.
Sean Lerma.
He
Sean
was
Lerma,
just
who
with
is at
us.
Subversive with
He
Johnny
was with us.
Redondo.
He was
and
with
you
me.
could check out that content just like you're seeing this show on Free Admission Media's YouTube and Facebook pages. So
That's right.
check that out. You did some pretty incredible interviews, and Sean Lerma happens to be on one of them. So shout out to Sean.
That's right. BJJ World TV also for Kayla Patterson's interviews, and they were conducted simultaneously with mine. We kind of split it up. I did post, she did pre, and then I did pre, she did post. But check them out. They're out there. So thank you very much to Subversive. Thank you very much to BJJ World TV.
Now, I'm not trying to bring this down because it's very uplifting. Because as me as a child, I wanted to bring this up. Of course, I'm pretty sure you guys heard in the news about Sweet Pea Whitaker passing away. A car hit him.
did hear about that.
Wind up dying, and
In
the
his
guy-
50s, right?
In his 50s, very young, and the guy was a legend. To me, he was a legend. Growing up as a kid, loved boxing. I mean, he fought everybody from, Mosley's uncle,
Yeah.
Ray Mosley, from was it Chavez to De La Hoya to Felix Trinidad to, I mean, you can name all the great fighters. And,
Yeah.
with this guy, and this is, I'm gonna tell you right now, if Mayweather was at his prime and Sweepy was at his prime, Sweepy would dominate because Sweepy's a fighter. If you ever look at some of his old footage, he goes in and he throws all connections.
But could he catch Mayweather? Mayweather's
Oh
so
no,
elusive.
believe me, he would catch Mayweather. The way this guy, if you look at some of his old fights and old
You
footage,
have to cut him off, right?
that guy, you can't cut him off. He'll come at you in different angles. and
Absolutely.
just hit you. I mean, he was an animal, and looking up to him and looking at his style. Same with a lot of stuff I studied with all the different fighters, from old fighters to, of course, this guy, and big fan of Felix Trinidad. But the big upset, the most that really stuck to my head, is when he fought Chavez and they called it a draw.
Right.
Right.
I'm like, how the hell do you call it a draw? So if you guys have a chance, go on YouTube, show some respect for this guy. Look at some of his highlights. You get to know who this boxer was.
Where did it happen at? Was it
I
Florida?
think he was in Florida.
In Florida,
It was,
yeah.
he was crossing the street. I'm not sure if it was at nighttime, I think, and a car hit him, but the car didn't take off. The car actually stuck around.
Not a hit and run.
Not a hit and run. It wasn't charges. The person was freaking out. They got to him, and he was still alive, but I think he wound up dying in the hospital or something.
Shark attacks.
Yeah,
People getting hit by cars. I mean, Florida. Come on, baby.
Yeah. So one love, much love to Sweepy Whitaker, man.
Absolutely.
One of the greatest.
Absolutely. And, to echo your sentiments, Joey, obviously Pernell Whitaker, I think he gets lost in the shuffle. And it's almost like for me, like the NBA, there were so many great players that, obviously those superstars like a Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan, and the list goes on and on. It was the same thing with the lighter divisions of boxing in the late 80s, early 90s, right? And a lot of people, obviously, justifiably, they hold Mike Tyson for being the linchpin of bringing people to boxing. But what was happening with the Tommy the Hitman Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard? We had Chavez Sr., Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., young Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins before he went to jail. Like there was, absolutely. I mean, and Pernell Whitaker is one of those guys that current fighters, both MMA, boxing, they are emulating Pernell Whitaker's style and not even know it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, he would be one to, give
Mayweather
Floyd
run for his money.
Yeah, Floyd
Money.
Mayweather.
Big time. Because honestly, guys, if you guys doubt me, believe me, go on YouTube, look at some of his greatest fights, even the fights that he did lose on decision, and the style he had was phenomenal.
Right, absolutely.
He was a fighter, never backed away. He always walked into you. Like I said, Mayweather, he's always a backup fighter. He's a backup fighter. This guy, he didn't care. He'll come at you, he'll get hit, but the angles, the techniques, it hurts, and he be hurting people in that ring. And much love to that guy. Like I said, like Wood said, he didn't get that big hype.
Right.
Or Tyson's or your De La Hoyas. It's just that he was one of those guys that just kicked ass, and he was very humble.
Absolutely.
Well put.
He didn't. Obviously, in that era, everybody's going to be, kind of outshined, justifiably or not, by Tyson, right? Because he was just he was an enigma. He was an enigma, right? So, I hope in death, like you said, Joey, like people's fight fans, or just fans of the sweet science, go back and look at the footage of Pernell Whitaker. And we're so lucky that, he came around at the time that we did, because, we don't have very much footage of like a Jack Johnson or Jim Jeffries or,
very early in the sport.
Yeah, Ray LaMotta, right? But we have video footage of Pernell Whitaker and the greatness that he purveyed every time he stepped
Most definitely.
into the ring. So yeah, this is a big loss in the fight community.
Yeah.
And there are celebrities that were, just to show you the cultural impact that he had during his time. Celebrities are tweeting it. The laundry list of personalities from all walks of life that were genuinely heartbroken over his death. My goodness,
Well, we got a celebrity chiming in. Blake Truth says, "How is he able to dodge all those punches but not dodge a car?" Jesus.
Thank you, Blake. You're a wonderful guy. And we have another celebrity chimed in there. That's Todd Medina in the house. Thank you, Todd, for watching. Todd Medina's Fight Club over there in Huntington Beach, his bigger academy. He just moved location, so he's doing his thing. He was present at Subversive, got an interview from Kayla Patterson. So very cool to see UFC royalty at the jiu-jitsu events, too. So he's just a great guy. And when he's describing his style of what he teaches over there, I can say nothing more than I would love to get the Gym Crashers over there to talk more about it because he embraces striking with his.
Now, real quick, now that our producer's not here,
Tell us.
what do you think about Yowie Wowie's last night being on Raw?
Oh, jeez.
dude.
Okay.
How did
I
this
mean,
turn into the
honestly-
Royal Ramble?
No, I'm not saying. I'm just because I just wanted just 2 seconds.
All right.
All I said.
I was
all I'm
talking
saying-
about Todd. Thank you, Todd.
Sorry, brother. But all I'm saying is, holy shit, I love it. I don't care what anybody else thinks, but it's gonna be badass. I loved it. I don't know
Okay.
about your opinion, but I loved it.
No. I mean, it was great for what it was. I just happen to know that, and what Joey's referencing is Bray Wyatt making his return to the WWE. I know a little bit too much. I know there's litigation against the WWE and Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt's real name, because he stole elements of his current gimmick from Shane Doc Atrocity and Sin Bodhi. So the fact that the best thing on the program is essentially a carbon copy of a couple of things, I just
That and the 24/7 championship's pretty good too.
You can't
Okay,
whisper.
anyway.
You can't whisper. You got to talk into the microphone.
Okay, and the 24/7 championship. It's worth the while watching Raw on that. I love R-Truth and the way he's acting. It's just to me, it's funny shit.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go back to Gym Crashers. Sorry, I had to
No,
bring
it's
that up.
okay. It's okay. You got Woods here, and he's a fan of the
I can
wrestling.
see he's wooden right now. So
Well, I wouldn't touch that thing if I were you.
Yeah, man, I'm all revved up and ready to go. But anyway, shout out to the Ramones. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about all the high-level jiu-jitsu, high-level Muay Thai, high-level MMA that's happening almost every weekend here in California.
Right.
And it really shows how fortunate that we are here, kind of like, not a centerpiece, but I mean, we're situated on a lot of these shows because it's amazing. Like, we are in awe of all of you athletes and practitioners of whatever combat sports that you fancy. And we get to see it and interview you guys at your best, at your worst. So thank you guys for being awesome.
Thank you to Marcos Tavares, right, from Brazil.
He's saying good night from Brazil.
That means he's tuning in, and
Tuning in is probably
probably 3 a.m.,
Hey,
Yeah,
Paul.
oh my god.
right? Thank you,
Yeah, there you
Marcos.
go.
Yeah. What's up, Marcos?
Maybe he knows my homie Michael Souza from Brazil as well. The guy that rolls at Jim Crash's dojo.
I always want to go to Brazil. I always want to go with have that big old parade. Just people in
Oh, the carnival.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I love watching on the YouTube. They had just the whole parade. I actually at work I play it and work. I'm like, damn, it's pretty cool.
You're playing with the carnival at your work?
It keeps me entertained.
He says it's what, 3:30 a.m.? I can't read that small.
No, it's 0033 a.m. That means
So that's like what?
12:30.
Yeah, 12:33. So
that makes
dude,
sense.
Marcos Tavares, you're awesome.
Thank you, Marcos.
Hey,
We're,
thanks, bro.
we're international. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
So
tell your
this-
friends to chime in. We talk about everything from jiu-jitsu to all mixed martial arts. If
Yep.
this is your first time, we're on every
Tuesday night.
Tuesdays,
Damn right.
8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
That's right.
Tell your family, tell your friends, tell whoever's involved in MMA down in Brazil to check us out next week, too. We're here until 9 o'clock.
Shoot us a pic and tell us what you do. Jiu-jitsu, MMA, whatever
Yeah.
it may be. Muay Thai.
Speaking of pics, going back to Subversive.
Yes,
How was the photo ops that you had?
Well, I'd show it right now, but I don't know if we're on YouTube Red or
No,
not.
we're definitely on YouTube.
Well, you could just show this whole.
But is it the Red?
No, you could. I mean, describe your experience.
Why don't you guys describe it?
It looks like he was a little kid in a candy store with Hershey Kisses.
Everywhere.
4 Hershey Kisses surrounding his face.
That's what I do.
So 2 pairs of Hershey Kisses.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely there was some peaks and valleys, during John Arredondo's.
Do you know what kind of cheese Mexicans like? Chi cheese.
What?
They like chi cheese.
Oh, jeez.
You know that's true, Joe. You're a Mexican.
Chi-Chi's,
Oh,
What kind of cheese do
it
Mexicans
took me a
like?
while.
Chi
Apparently,
cheese.
I'm thick in the head.
They don't have cheese in
but-
Fiji, do they? They don't eat cheese.
It's like that joke. What do they call a Mexican wrestler during lunchtime? A lunchador.
Lunchador. I like that.
That's me. That's pretty much me all the time. I get pissed off until I eat. So.
No, we had a nice experience. Shout out to my friend David Carrillo from Hustler. He brought 5 young ladies
Wow,
from Hustler. He's a homie. He's a friend of the show. David Carrillo, again, shout out to you, buddy, from Hustler, because you brought the 5 ladies. Callie Lee, my favorite, of course, and Callie, we'll do business soon. We're going to do a show with them and
Damn.
put it together.
Lucky.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know who Callie Lee is. If our producer was at his helm, we could put Callie's picture up, but that's...
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to give a shout out to some people here. David Lee, Rachel Vargas, Raymond Hinojosa, cousins, aunts, Chris Alexander. What's up, brother? Haven't seen you for a long time. Joe the Bull's still doing it. You know what I mean?
There we go. And speaking of doing it, apparently Blake Troop is wants a little bit more than what we're giving him.
You're involved,
because
Blake.
he says Hershey Kisses. That sounds like some Urban Dictionary shit.
I'll send you a
It's
pic.
definitely not an Alaskan pipeline that
No.
John got into.
I think I have
It-
Blake's number. He's going to shoot it over right now mid-show so
Yeah,
you can
there
call
you
it.
go. So-
Blake Drew, put it like this: it's like going to Hooters and having a girl taking a picture on this side and this side without the shirts.
I was gonna say that's we're okay to describe this to Blake Troop is almost this is the life that this gentleman leads. So
Yeah.
with that all being said, it's just like
I don't need
this
Blake
is old
impinging
hat.
upon my good time.
This is
because
old hat for this guy. This is
I can't compete with him.
Pipeline.
Alaskan pipeline. Maybe I should shoot over that.
Here you go, Blake.
Oh,
There you
you
go.
saying it to Blake already?
Yeah.
Take
So,
a peek, baby.
yeah.
Take a peek.
Take a peek.
a peek. Anyway, yeah. So
My
and-
luck,
oh,
Blake's already been there because, they probably got grenades tattooed on the behinds.
Oh, geez.
I wouldn't doubt it. I
'Cause he's
definitely
throwing-
wouldn't doubt
He's
it.
throwing hand grenades and elbows all
Yeah,
day long.
damn
you don't want to
right.
get in Blake's way.
Hell no. Coming down the pipeline right now, not the Alaskan pipeline, but essentially, we have the results for Dana White's Contender Series.
Tell us.
yeah,
Live
so,
breaking news on the Gym Crashers.
this is season 3, week 4 results, and 4 fighters right finishes the contract. So this is okay. It's a weird one, right? Because like I'm torn with the Dana White's Contender Series because obviously, a gentleman that is kind of SoCal bred, Chris Curtis, the action man, right? He literally super kicked, Shawn Michaels super kicked a dude with a broken hand and didn't get a contract. And that contract was given to Greg Hardy, right? Now, I'm not
Super
obviously
kicked.
we haven't seen it, but 4 fighters were given contracts. So kudos
You okay,
to
little
those-
buddy? Cough on him, not me.
to those gentlemen. But what is like? I'd like to know what is the kind of parameters because I mean, these gentlemen finished, but I mean, I don't know. It's when
here
you
we
have
go.
Jacob Rosales going in there, broken hand, Chris
Broken
Curtis.
fibula.
Yeah, right. And these gentlemen, they passed on Jalen Turner. Like, obviously he's in the UFC now.
I'm not here to question the
Roosevelt
Contender,
Roberts
but-
is in the UFC now,
Right.
but they didn't get picked up by the Contender Series.
And they're
So I
savages.
I don't know. But shout out to the 4 gentlemen because obviously to have 4 straight stoppages and leading to UFC contracts, that's the thing that a fighter dreams about. That's what they've worked so hard to kind of bring into fruition. So kudos to them.
Yeah, you said
and
it.
we're actually going to have a representative next week, Daniel Rodriguez, a Combate and Bellator veteran. He'll be contending for a potential UFC contract next week. So obviously Daniel Rodriguez is training at the Yard under the tutelage of Joe Schilling, one of the greatest American Muay Thai practitioners
Ever.
in history.
Right.
Next to the
Joe
Rufus
Schilling.
brothers.
Joe Schilling is built for killing.
Right, absolutely. And then also
It just came out, but it's so true. When you
Right.
look at his structure, I'd like to
Absolutely.
see Joe Schilling versus Blake Troop.
Book it, Data. That's all I gotta
Right?
say.
That's a fight. Joe Schilling, Blake Troop. That is a fight.
Yeah, damn right.
Now, speaking of Combates, have you just seen the
Blake got the picks, by the way. Thank you, Blake.
interviews with Alberto Del Rio?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
and
man.
again, pro wrestling kind of rears its head again here at the Gym Crashers
It's coming.
because obviously Alberto Del Rio, formerly of the WWE, the former El Hijo, what is it? El Hijo de Dos Caras, the son of Two Masks, essentially, right?
Okay, yeah.
Look at that
He is
Spanish
fighting
coming
UFC
out.
Hall of Famer
Better than
and
me.
Golden Boy veteran. Yes,
He's-
we can
he's
say
Belizean,
that.
I think.
The Huntington Beach bad boy,
Yes.
Tito Ortiz.
Tito.
So
Tito
yes,
tacos.
promos have been kind of trickling out, and I don't know. The big question for me with this Combate card, and I love it because again, as we stated last week, I love the fact that there's going to be fighters on the undercard that are going to get a shine in front of an audience that probably Combate. I don't want to say that they've never done before, but honestly, they haven't. This is on its heels going to be the biggest
Yeah.
audience that Combate has ever drawn.
And they certainly will get that Latin American viewer.
Right,
Because
absolutely.
That's what they're gearing towards.
So the thing about it is,
what about
I
Golden
don't
Boy?
know.
Blake Troop's yelling about Golden Boy. Ask him what he's talking about.
oh, Golden Boy. Yeah, I mean, he knocked out Chuck.
Well, you're saying Golden Boy MMA is dead, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, after that shit show, and I don't think anybody was
Thank you, Blake.
came away from that show, whether they viewed it in person or at home, walked away were like, yeah, that was a great investment of my time,
Yeah.
resources, or anything. And there's a multitude of different reasons why that happened. I was at the weigh-ins, and there's like 5 people there because Golden Boy hadn't put out nearly a tweet to say that it was open to public, but the resources that went into it, I mean, there was full lights, cameras ready to go, and these fighters to be featured, and there was 4 people there. There was more people in both the Camo and California State Athletic Commission sitting in the crowd and working there than there were fighters there.
Allegedly, they're not doing any more events. Thank you, Blake.
There you go. So
Allegedly.
Now, one thing I want to bring up, it got brought up in last week's show with Royal Ramble. And this is, I'll talk about MMA fighters.
I know. What did you do? Shift gears on me again?
No, I'm not sure. This is MMA fighters.
You know what? This is De La Jiu-Jitsu as well as OCCW, so it is what it is. I can't fight it anymore. You guys are always going to have 50% of my time.
Okay. No, what do you guys think about MMA fighters transition to UFC, WWE or wrestling? Knowing the fact that they're doing the whole wrestling gimmick, some of these like Undertaker or Brock Lesnar, they all wear the gloves when they're in the ring, and I notice nowadays a lot of wrestlers are using MMA gimmick gloves to probably boost some ratings to make them look like MMA fighters. I mean, what do you think about that?
did you want to
I have no opinion, so I've never seen it.
Okay. So, what we do know, obviously, Ronda
okay,
Rousey
Pumpkin.
and Brock Lesnar being, the
Bobby Ashley?
yeah, and Bobby Lashley
Bobby
being
Lashley.
kind of like I guess the big 3 in terms of whether it be fighters dabbling in pro wrestling dabbling into fights and what have you. But I'd be remiss not to talk about obviously one of the big reasons why I'm a fan of MMA. Was down to be severed. Ken Shamrock, who
yeah.
elected to take WWE contracts during their MMA careers because there wasn't that much money. I mean, there wasn't any money at all.
It probably wasn't even
in
called
fighting.
MMA at that time.
Right,
It was
absolutely.
probably just no holds barred, whatever.
Right.
Vale Tudo.
Right, absolutely. So
UFC was a new term itself.
right, absolutely. So with that being said, I'm all in favor of anybody, especially in combat sports, because the window of opportunity I think is shorter than in comparison to any other sport or any other form of entertainment, because it is entertainment, folks. I mean, yes, it is a sport, but it's an ass in every 18 inches, whether that's at the pub watching it, in the arena, buying the pay-per-view, it's an ass in every 18 inches. So it
Wow.
is a form of entertainment.
I like that, the
and
way
I
you
borrowed
put
that
that.
from Jim Ross.
And-
So with that all being said, I mean, if a Tom Lawler can make money doing professional wrestling, Josh Barnett is doing Bloodsport. Matt Riddle has transitioned into the WWE. I'm all in favor for if you can capitalize on your name value and recognition and get people into the arenas and get people into what you're doing. And this is not just pro wrestling. This is, I mean, Jack May, the former
Jack
Lights
May
Out
from Lights Out.
champion and Bellator veteran, he's a gentleman who essentially does real estate. You know, that's his full-time job. And he's used a
I
lot
never
of his...
would have put that together. Not
Oh.
Jack May. I thought you were going to tell me he went to wrestling.
No. In terms of using your cachet,
But Jack
whatever-
May didn't show up to the last fight,
Okay,
right?
but he's used
What
his
happened?
platform.
What happened with that?
I don't know.
You brought it up.
Well,
Yeah.
well,
But again, in terms of
Who's the
utilizing
champ
your
now? Who's the champ of Lights Out now?
I don't know. I was commentated Sparstar.
This guy. All right.
but just
I'll leave
real
it at
quick,
that.
I know back to the whole wrestling MMA thing. I mean, folks, you want to chime in the next hour? Our Royal Ramble. We have a handful of wrestlers that don't believe in a lot of these MMA fighters shouldn't bring their gimmick to the wrestling ring. I believe I love it because I think it draws the attention, draws more of the situation.
It's
So if you-
definitely part of it.
So if you want to chime in next show, the next not
Let's talk
15
about it.
minutes, we can talk about it more.
Talking
And-
about the Royal Ramble.
the Royal Ramble, and that's where I want to leave it for now, so we can talk more about MMA.
The very spirited John DeLo will be on that show. He loves to talk.
But I do believe MMA will work in the wrestling scene.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, and
It's been crossbred since the beginning, and people that deny that just don't understand where it came from.
well, one thing that I do want to kind of highlight is Josh Barnett. For Brock Lesnar was the youngest UFC heavyweight champion. He is putting on Bloodsport. It is a GCW sponsored event, but
see what Blake has to
for
say.
people that like grappling, like subversive, like EBI, you're going to
yeah.
get a lot of mat-based stuff. And yes, it's in the guise of pro wrestling, but guess what? UWFI was that. Pancrase was that. That was in the evolution of grappling in MMA. That's where you need to go. And
You know what?
cool.
Shout out to Little Gokor, Greg Gumbarian.
absolutely. So
You
go for it.
definitely, we want to get you in house. So if you, I know you're in Vegas, but if you have time to come out here to Orange County, or if you're in town for fights, this is an open invitation. People want to hear your story and talk about you and what you got going on, buddy. His dojo is a wonderful place. They train killer fighters. We just saw him recently at multiple events, so he's definitely active and producing not only jiu-jitsu practitioners but MMA fighters. So, Greg, yes, come in.
Yeah, come
Little
on through. I
Gokor.
just keep the seat warm. You know, I'm usually behind the scenes with the microphone, but come on in.
We'll give you a clean seat, Greg, because, Joey's there. We don't know what happened. But thank you, man. Thank you for watching. And we do have an interview. We'll pop it up sometime. If you want to check what he's about, we met him at another event, interviewed him, but we'd like to get more in-depth because Greg is the man. So thank you, Little Gokor. And for
Absolutely.
Troop says Jay Silva's the champ at Lights Out because of no contest. Thank you, Troop.
There you go.
Chi-Cheese, Troop. That's what Mexicans like. That's what kind of cheese they like.
Cheese,
Chi-Cheese.
cheese.
Thank you. Well, Blake knows this.
Well, of course, I'm pretty
Blake
sure he
wrote the
does.
book.
Yeah, he did. I can imagine. I
And
wanna read
Blake,
the book.
Blake Troop is not only doing MMA, but he does pro wrestling. I don't know if people know this.
I just can't wait. I mean, I've seen him on YouTube, Facebook, going in the ring, talking a lot of smack on that one.
He does it all, man.
Who's that guy? You remember the guy he was talking smack on? Hey, Blake, what's the guy you're talking smack on?
Which one? The Game of Thrones promo or?
When he went in the ring and then
Oh, this is Bumps and Bruises.
Bumps and Bruises. Yeah,
Bumps and Bruises.
That's down in
yeah,
San Diego,
absolutely.
yeah?
No.
No.
Where's it
That's
at?
here in LA.
L.A.
Got it. You're always driving
Yeah,
down
yeah.
south for something. I don't know. I can't
Yeah.
keep up with you.
So I mean, and then I don't want to get away from. No. Actually, I'm gonna bring it up. So Bellator is coming back with their featherweight title tournament. It's going to be cool. AJ McKee is going to be the mercenary.
There's going to be a
undefeated in Bellator.
featherweight. What do they call it? Not
It's
ti-
a Grand Prix.
Grand Prix. There's the
Henry
word I was
Corrales,
looking for.
a friend of the show.
Henry
He's
is definitely
participating in that, competing
Yeah.
in that.
Something else, man.
Yeah.
This is what he's been waiting for. He's trained his entire life for it.
Absolutely, he gets to test his mental on a big stage,
Right.
In front of arguably after his knockout of Aaron Pico,
Yep.
a way to finally capitalize on all the work and all the sacrifices that he's done, to get to this particular juncture of his career. So this is big. and that is going down. So I believe it's the SAP Center is going to have one half of the Grand Prix tournament fights, and then the other will take place at the Forum on September 28th.
Woo! It's gonna be here and home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Blake Troop says he likes Chi-Chi. Thank you, Blake Troop.
Yeah, what's up, my boy Dre? Me and my boy Dre, we have a lot of stories. I mean, he's
Tell us
been
about Dre.
around where I not maybe next show.
We're at Don-
been around, been knocking out folks back in the day. I mean,
Got it.
back in his hood back in the day. You know.
Oh, in that hood, not over in
Yeah.
Newport Beach at
Oh man, Newport Beach is nothing.
no Dennis Rodman's Supper Club. You didn't do that.
I want to get sued by those rich folks. Trust
Yeah,
my
yeah,
babies
yeah,
down
yeah.
there. What's up, Harvey? What's up, big dog? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, so here are the names that are, if you guys don't know already, we've got former Ultimate Fighter contestant Sam Cecilia, friend of Michael Chiesa. He is in this tournament. Daniel Strauss, a former Bellator champion.
big
Pedro
one.
Cavallo. There you go. I got that right. We've got Pat Curran, former Bellator champion, former multi-time division champion of King of the Cage, Juan the Spaniard Archuleta, is also in this tournament. Daniel Witchell, AJ McKee, Henry Corrales, Darion Caldwell. This is fantastic. I love what Bellator is doing in terms of, we're seeing a lot of times, and most people said under the Bjorn Rebney tutelage of Bellator or ownership of Bellator that the tournament format was dead. But arguably, these are the greatest featherweights outside of the UFC. And as we saw in the
Put
heavyweight,
some of them in the UFC, and you see what happens.
What?
I said, put some of those folks in the UFC. AJ McKee, Henry.
Yeah,
Corrales.
absolutely.
Watch what
so,
happens.
as we saw
They'll
with
turn it upside down.
Huh?
They will turn it upside down.
absolutely, and as we saw in the instance of the heavyweight Grand Prix with Brian Bader emerging victorious out of a stacked field, right? It just shows that the greatest fights, the greatest fighters, can happen anywhere. It could happen in your regional promotion. It could happen at a Bellator or one fighting.
That's a spirit, Woods. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just never know.
You
Any
just never
given
know.
night, any given Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Yes, these guys and girls, they compete for your attention, your time, the sacrifices, a culmination of everything that they've worked for, where they've been training 6 weeks, 6 months, a BJJ practitioner, a striking practitioner. It can go any way. You can MMA math all you want. It's exciting because you don't know what's going to happen. Every equation that you have can be crap when it comes to a one-punch knockout, a heel hook from out of nowhere. It's the most exciting sport. It is the greatest story that I believe that any athlete could ever tell.
And you guys got me excited. I'm glad you're finally had me come along to some of you guys' events.
Yeah, hell
I
yeah.
can't wait to either do some interviews.
you're
two,
our commentator, dude.
Make some things happen. I mean, I love how Mr. Woods is so excited.
We're gonna be
I
working
love
with
the
Hustler.
energy, and
We're
he's.
going to work with Hustler, Joe.
But one question.
listen.
I don't know if Adam can come along on that one.
Well,
I'll invite him, but his wife may not invite him back home.
Well, I just want to know,
That's true.
Adam Woods, when's your next fight at Disneyland?
Oh, yeah, no, that wasn't me and my kid. Holy crap, we don't all look alike, folks.
Whoa.
But
I thought it was the trial for the new Black Panther because Disney owns Marvel Comics.
I didn't even put that together until Joe brought it up, but
Wow.
maybe so.
well, there was an appearance by a Jabba the Hutt type creature.
Oh,
shit.
this guy.
I saw Adam's twin brother, though, at Subversive, Hanata Larange.
Oh, a notch.
Hanach
Pohaka.
Larange. Pohada.
Yeah, then.
He
But
brought
yeah,
the Pohada, and he was with the Hustler girls. He's just a gentleman. He's
There you
really,
go.
he
You know I'm
shares.
messing with you. Much
I
love.
like it.
yeah. So,
Well, he wasn't joking with you, Joe.
wasn't. I was telling the truth.
he was that's his shoot. I mean, I think we're gonna put that on kayfabe commentaries or
Santa
whatever.
Ana versus Inglewood in the house right now.
Saying all day, 714, baby.
The Huntington Beach kid will just
I
sit
can't
aside.
count that high. So whatever Joey says.
That's right, Dre. You know what's up, dog.
Hey,
I don't have a pit bull.
Shout out to everybody who's watching again. We had Todd Medina. We had
Oh, man, we had a lot of people.
Yeah,
Greg Umburian.
Steve Dodge.
Gokor. Steve
We have
Dodge.
Mike. Mike he brings his two boys here. They do a lot of jiu-jitsu training with John's.
If you say so.
great
Tim
kids,
Webster.
Big wrestling fans. Blake Truth. Who else? DJ SoCal.
All your guys. Yeah, DJ
Like
SoCal.
Troy Everett. My aunt was watching. My aunt. The
whole Hinojosa
Vargas.
family.
No, she's a Vargas part of the
Gracias,
family.
tia.
Chris Alexander. My cousin Ray Hinojosa. I mean, I got a lot of love.
Who had the Snoopy on there?
That was my aunt.
Your aunt.
Yeah. Who else? I got Harvey, my boy Dre for life. You know, that's my dog. That's my dog.
Is that word life?
That's word life. Not like that, dog.
Okay.
You-
Shout out to Adam's wife. I know she tunes in.
Yeah,
She chimes
shout
in.
out-
She puts up with all
Yeah,
the bullshit
'cause-
I put out.
And shout out to Mindy.
Mindy Hinojosa is
Mindy, I
a Gym
like
Crusher's
that. I
MVP.
forgot. I didn't make
a
my
Gym
statement. I'll
Crusher's
leave it
OG.
alone.
So shout out to you,
Lake Forest's
Mrs. Hinojosa.
finest,
Lake Forest Heights.
right?
Wait, Lake Forest or Wake Forest?
He's from Lake Forest, man. L.A.
My boy Dre said
L.A.K.E.
tryouts for the new Black Panther.
I can't try out anything.
No?
Shit. I'm probably the most, I guess, the least athletic black in Polynesian. So
Well, maybe you could try out for the the Little Mermaid because they're making her African American now. So you may be the lobster.
thank you for considering me as
Sha-la-la-la,
African American
don't be
because,
shy.
like, I went through the
Kiss
whole
the
England
girl.
thing, being called Carlton Banks from the Fresh Prince.
I think
There's
so.
that.
I didn't even realize
like
it. Carlton.
How could I look like Gary Coleman, Webster, and Alfonso Ribeiro at the same
All
time?
in
Those were
one.
all three different
All
people.
in
What are you
one.
talking about, Willis?
That's fucked, man.
Damn.
Did he call you
That's it.
Bubbles?
I thought like my whole acumen of like fight culture would lead me astray, but hey, I'm doing conventions. What you talking about, Willis?
You're rocking the Ramon shirt.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
I
That's
mean-
breaking the mold right there.
I mean, he looks like every guy that sells elotes are down the street.
Oh,
or
Jesus
Biggie Blanks,
Christ.
Or stands in front of Home Depot looking
yeah.
for work.
You can give me some, I will sell them. I can sell just about anything. You want elote? I'll cook it up for you, baby.
I mean, you saw what?
Tell us.
My boy Dre.
I
Come
look
on.
like Sammy Sosa.
He does look like
Oh,
Sammy
you
Sosa, don't he?
do.
Before he bleached his skin.
You do have a Sammy
I like
Sosa look.
baseball very good to me. Baseball
Hey,
very good.
you know what? If I can get paid, fuck it. Let's do it.
Sammy
Next week
Sosa.
coming, what was it, Cubs?
I'm sure I can probably rifle one off in.
I think we could
Huntington
get
Park.
Joey to dress up like the
Fluffy?
grown-up version of the Great Hambino or something.
The Great who?
Hambino from the Sandlot.
Hambino?
No, I did wear a Hawaiian shirt Saturday, and people would start calling me Fluffy. So.
Oh yeah, well you were only a little fluffy.
Is that something that you?
Or Gabriel Iglesias, the
Yeah,
comedian.
no, absolutely no. Is that something that you embrace, or
Nah,
you're in the keto? I mean,
I'm with keto, but I am funny.
famously, yes, that is true. That is true. But famously, Gabriel Iglesias likes cake, right?
Do you
I don't
like
know if
cake,
there's-
Joe?
I don't know.
I like.
Or you cheesecake?
Well, are there keto-friendly cakes?
Yeah,
that-
if it's made out of
Coconut flour.
coconut flour, almond flour, you can actually make almond pancakes. I think right. Hey, babe, almond pancakes, right, babe? Anyway, what do you say?
we got Joey the Bull Hinojosa, who's usually a wordsmith.
Aye.
We got him like Foghorn Leghorn.
You say he looks like Ricky Dragon Steamboat.
Holy shit!
But anyway, guys, hey.
I don't know who that is, but I'll take it.
Oh my! This guy. Who he said? You
What?
don't know Ricky. You don't know who? Wow, that's very sad.
Yeah,
Robert,
so,
can you put
know,
up a picture of Ricky Dragon Steamboat behind us and take this show out? Because apparently we
Absolutely.
look
And
alike.
your social media guys, where can they find you, Mr. Woods?
According to Woods on Instagram, Facebook. I just discovered Snapchat, so
Oh, boy.
there's some weird shit that goes down there.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
I stay away from
and
all of it.
please don't DM me anything.
DM.
I'm gonna send you a
I'm
bunch of.
I'm married.
He
so
likes
fuck.
naked pictures of men. Send
No
them.
bullshit.
It doesn't have to
Dude,
be
do
you.
know how
Just send
much
it to
I had to
him.
live that down after last
Right?
show.
And
He
this
likes
whole
cake.
week has been crazy. But where can we find
Dondo,
you,
the
Dondo?
gym crasher, send me whatever the hell you want.
And you can find me at Joey the Bull Hinojosa.
Not
on-
Santana.
Not Santana, but Hinojosa on Facebook, Instagram.
Show me this
and
character
Snapchat.
I look like, Robert.
Once again, this is Gym Crashers.
Oh well, hell,
And that's John Arredondo.
it's my brother.
Back in the day.
Hell
It
yes.
was. Before I
That is
discovered-
the reverse face app aging
Before
fucking
I
thing.
started the burrito diet, not the keto diet.
Oh, my wife is saying, hey, make me some almond pancakes. Baby, I'll do it. Believe me. I
There
got
you
you,
go.
sweetheart.
There you go.
Anyway, this is Gym Crashers.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
We love you.
We
I
love
don't
you.
like
We're outta
when
here.
things aren't
Thank you for
going
that
my way.
compliment. The dragon's a handsome devil.